It is with a heavy heart that I let you all know that my plans to go pro have been foiled by Riot Games. And I know that I had not told you all about these plans. In fact, the title of this video was originally going to say, I'm going pro. And it was going to be a picture of me looking really cool with like a TGI jersey that we were going to have made. And I was going to make this video all about, I was going to be crowdfunding or, trying to raise some money so that I could go pro, so that my admission into this event was going to be there. And Riot blocked me. And that's what this video is about. So let me explain. So in Teamfight Tactics, and please don't click away. I know I said Teamfight Tactics. It's not League of Legends. I did a video about Valorant. All the League people are like, oh my God, he doesn't do League content. It's September. There's nothing going on. I'm going to make this relevant for you all in the League space, though. So don't click away. But in Teamfight Tactics, Riot is doing something very, very different than what they normally do with their esports. You see, Riot has gotten a lot of criticism in the past for having this kind of controlling approach, exiting or blocking a lot of access to the higher end of pro and not always having the best path to pro by creating these franchise teams and leagues and all this whole system. But in Teamfight Tactics, they're doing something that is a little bit more reminiscent of the way that the fighting game scene works, or Smash, or Magic the Gathering, ironically, also kind of works this way. And they are hosting something in December called the TFT Vegas Open. It's got a $100,000 prize pool for this event. So it's nothing small. I mean, like, that sounds small when you're talking about 5-player team sports, but when you're talking about individual sports, that's very different. So yeah, there's no qualifier. This is not like an invitational thing where, we're inviting these 16 pros to all come out and fight in this, or the streamers or something like that. It's actually just a 512 person bracket, a giant one. So again, the folks that have watched like Evo and that type of thing, they might be familiar with the way that this works. And these things are quite cool because you have a situation where kind of anybody can sign up for this, right? You get really cool stories of players from, all sorts of places coming up and nobody's ever heard of them, and they knock out some superstar. And then people are like watching their path to lifting the trophy. Or you get, situations where you have in the lower bracket, suddenly these two amazing players have matched up, and who's going to get like knocked out or get knocked down to a lower bracket, or some interesting situation that can occur. And so anybody who's watched these things can know that like this is just a very different type of esport structure and esport event than what we're so used to Riot putting on, right? Where, we've got these teams that have qualified from all over the world from these year-long leagues that have competed. And I like that stuff. Don't get me wrong. I love Worlds, and I really enjoyed watching Champions and all that. But this is so different from what Riot does. It's just really, really cool. And guess what? I was going to compete in this thing because as soon as I heard about this, I knew I wanted to compete. You see, a lot of people might not know this, but back in 2019, when I think that was when it came out, right? That was when, or was it 2018? Whatever. When TFT came out, I think it was 2019. We had a big thing that happened at the TwitchCon in San Diego that year where they hosted Twitch Rivals. It's 2019. Drew says 2019. And they created this stage that was like a layer cake, where in the middle, at the top layer, you had a Twitch Rivals that was just League of Legends going on. But then around on the other stages below, you had all these people competing in a TFT event. It was actually one of the coolest things I've ever seen. And while Riot, I think, has publicly said like, our fans tell us that they don't like it whenever we mix our events together. And I think they're referring to like All-Stars or whatever. I think the Twitch Rivals thing was really neat, where you had Kobe and some other casters, I'm trying to remember who, maybe Azale was there, all talking about the League of Legends Twitch Rival stuff during the first half of the day, but they'd be like checking in on what's going on the TFT side. And this was really fun because you had some people from the League of Legends side that were competing in the TFT thing. So for instance, I was there, and I remember playing and streaming from my perspective because everyone was streaming their TFT perspective. And then in front of me up in the stands at the top was like where the caster booth was, and Kobe and folks would turn around and look down at me and be like, how's he doing? How are you doing, Travis? I give like a thumbs up or whatever. This is all happening on my stream and on the Twitch Rival stream. And I just had such a cool time. Like for me, I had gotten Diamond in the set right before this. I think this was the second set. And it was so funny because for me, somebody who has like spent so much time covering competitive video games but always been too shit to compete in them, actually getting to kind of experience that felt really, really neat. And people got to watch my chat. It was just a really, really cool time. So I wanted to do this again because I wanted to experience that again, and this was an opportunity to do that. But unfortunately, things went wrong. At the start of this set, I started playing, and maybe a month or two in, actually. And then I stopped playing after I got gold because they nerfed Zeri, and I was trying to figure out what was up. I was actually going to wait for the mid-set update. But as I said, this video was going to be me crowdfunding and doing all this stuff. But the way that Riot rolled out the tickets was unfortunate because they did it over the course of 3 days. So yesterday, they opened it up to challenger players. Challenger players could pay $200 to get access to this. And then today, it was going to be Grandmasters and Masters. They could pay $300. And then tomorrow, it was going to open up to everybody. And they could spend $400. And as we record this on the 6th, is it the 6th, Drew? It's the 6th. So tomorrow, the 7th, it was going to be open to everybody. And guess what? It sold out today. It sold out. They sold like half them yesterday. They sold the other half today. I don't even get a chance to purchase this. And I think perhaps there is some element of fairness in the idea that somebody who's challenger should get first dibs over me, a person who hasn't played as much TFT over the years because I've gotten distracted by other things. And, I get it. But also it's a bummer because I would have loved to go pro in that event. And maybe I would have done something where people who donate above a certain amount to crowdfund my entry into this event, they got on my jersey or something. I don't know. It would have just been a whole thing. I would have made content out of it. It would have been really fun. But I can't do that. And so I just want to say I'm still going to go to this thing. And what's neat is they're going to do what they do at Magic events and at fighting game events where they're going to have side events that I can compete in. I will still be doing that. And if you want to help support that in some way or another, feel free to hit up the links below. I don't have a sponsor for this video. I'm probably not going to have a sponsor for that event. So if you want to be a person who's seeing if I can win a side event or something like that, feel free to hit up the support links. But the bigger thing and the real reason why I'm doing all this after hiding it behind a clickbait title is that I think that this is a very fascinating shift for Riot Games in the way that they approach esports, because they have always gone for that bigger, traditional sports style thing, or just big. We're going to have dragons fly into a giant arena, and we're going to have, Lil Nas X and Taylor Swift headline some sort of show, and we're going to do all this crazy stuff. And this is just more a little bit like the grassroots esports that a lot of people who were around 10 years ago know. And I think that's really refreshing. And I think that it would be great if this is wildly successful. I mean, at the very least, from a participation perspective, it already looks successful. And I know some people are going to come in and be like, oh, yeah, people don't watch TFT. This is going to get like 2,000 viewers. That's fucking fine. So this is what's interesting is that this is more about the competition than it is about the viewership. And I think they'd like it, obviously, if some people watch. And I do think it will get better viewership than other TFT stuff has in the past because of how unique it is and how I think that some streamers and stuff are going to qualify in. But I also think it's just neat to kind of democratize esports. And I would love to see a world where there were TFT events happening in a bunch of different cities all the time. Getting into Magic, that has been one thing I've really enjoyed, is that I can find Magic events that are happening in my area every couple months, and I can go to them or travel to them, and it's like a short plane flight, and I can just go do that. And I think if this happens in TFT and it's really successful, it would be really cool if they could figure out a way to do this in some of their other games. I think it's really hard to do this with a 5-person game because the brackets and everything just get wild whenever you have to deal with 5 people on a team. But what about the 2v2v2v2 arena mode in League of Legends? Wouldn't it be kind of cool if you and a buddy could go to some convention center nearby and compete over the course of a weekend in a 512-person arena bracket and see if you can win? So I'm really hopeful for this type of thing to take off. I think it's notable, and I wanted to mention it in this video because even if you're a League of Legends fan or you're a Valorant fan or something like that, you should probably take note of the fact that Riot is, at least in TFT, exploring very different esports methods. So I'll be there. Hopefully you guys can come out. We'll put up the dates here so you can see it. And again, feel free to support the channel or my event. Kobe's walking in now, so I have to end this video. But thanks so much, and we'll catch you later.